Welcome to another episode of What's Working in E-commerce. I'm your host, Egan Heath from Caravan Digital. We're a digital marketing agency for e-commerce brands. And today I'm excited to be speaking with Adam Shaffer, who owns Omni-channel Distribution. Adam, thank you for joining us.
Egan, thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here today and talk to you and your audience. Love talking e-commerce.
Yeah, sounds like you've really been in this world a while. Tell us a little bit about, what you do, and tell us about omni-channel distribution a bit too, so people have context.
It's so funny, like I was once the youngest person wherever I worked, and somehow, some way, one day it all changed. I became the oldest person. So it's kind of very, very sad. And that happens, I think, everybody. But I've been in the business for a long time before Amazon and before e-commerce. It was called direct marketing, direct mail marketing, and we would sell products via direct mail pieces and catalogs. And we were the largest catalog of computer-related products, mostly focused on Apple, but Apple and PC. And we would mail 5 or 6 million catalogs, and our company was called Mac Warehouse. And its claim to fame was, other than it was very big, was about $2 billion in revenue in multiple countries that we were mailing these catalogs. There was one Seinfeld episode where Jerry Seinfeld was really angry about getting so much junk mail, and he has the Pottery Barn catalog, and he throws it down, and the Williams Sonoma one, he's throwing it down, and then he goes in the Mac Warehouse one. And so we made Seinfeld by being so annoying by probably over mailing these catalogs. But that kind of led into the internet and the e-commerce business, because we were partners with Microsoft. We would sell their products, and they were trying to put together an e-commerce site. And people would usually transact via the phone. They would call you up, they get the catalog, or they would mail in a card. But we created an internet site with a shopping basket, completely built on Microsoft product at the time, and it was homegrown. It cost millions of dollars, believe it or not, millions of dollars. And we mailed the catalogs, and instead of calling, they went to the internet and they placed the orders. And so Dell and our company about the same time started this, and we thought we were internet geniuses because all this traffic is there. Had nothing to do with search engines or anything. It was because we were just advertising in general. And so we were one of the first e-commerce businesses, and so from there, life has evolved. And I had mentioned when we were speaking earlier, like, I can't imagine then having the types of tools that exist today, where everything's there, and it's very inexpensive, low cost. If you would like to spend a lot of money, I'm sure you can. But all the plugins, everything's there. Not that long ago, for you to change a payment method or add a payment method, like I want PayPal, I don't want just Visa, MasterCard. It's like moving a mountain to get your IT team to make that work, and to work with the other side, at the PayPal side, and integrate it and secure it and make it transact and not lose a ton of money doing it. And now it's there. So I wish I knew then what I knew now. But so it's really evolved over time, where now any brand or any person that wants to sell can have an e-commerce site with all the cool stuff that you usually need to have a successful business. What's hard sometimes is, as you grow, whether it's pure D2C, direct to business, or through marketplaces, it's hard to scale, because now you go from being an entrepreneur or a product developer to now I have to deal with logistics, and I have to deal with payments and customer service, and it gets and marketing, and it gets expensive and it gets hard. So our company, Omni-channel Distribution, helps brands enable them to sell on e-commerce and on marketplaces like Amazon and Walmart. And we are a full-service agency along with that. So we help them with all the aspects, but the one big difference between us and a pure agency would be that we buy and sell the products on Amazon for the brand. We become their partner on the brand, on the pure direct to consumer side, we might help them get their site up and going. We might help them with their back end. But really, when it comes to Amazon and dealing with that, we will buy and sell the products. We can still do it as an agency, but we do it as an agency. It's a lot more fun than having to buy all these products. But by buying products, you have skin in the game and you show your commitment to the brand. And so that's the big picture. And so right now, omni-channel distribution, fast forwarding to the future where we are now, we we do about $70 million in gross merchandise value. Most of it is our revenue because of the buy and sell model that I mentioned, and we manage about 31 brands in 10 different categories. Probably right now like 1,500 to 2,000 SKUs, give or take, each day as things ebb and flow a little bit that are active, and that is mostly through our Amazon stores here in the U.S., Canada, Mexico, and soon to be UK.
Great history for everyone too, in terms of how difficult this used to be to just put up a store, have a shopping cart, collect payments, advertise, and everything. So it's pretty amazing just to think all the tools we have at our disposal now. I'd love to ask you about the Amazon side. What do you guys see working? And also on the other side, maybe when clients come to you, what are the struggles they're having that you guys can help solve?
Yeah, so it comes to the the marketing or the life cycle of that brand and the size of the brand and how embedded into the channels that they are. But the most common issue, just to get to the issues first, that brands have, and if it's a brand that is distributed anywhere or sold in any other channels, it is protecting their brand and making sure that the products that are sold on Amazon are legitimate and their brand and not some counterfeit brand, but also that the product pricing and the content is accurate and correct. And so if your product is sold anywhere else outside of your reach, meaning if it's your direct to consumer site and it's locked down and really there's no other way to get your products, you've much better, that's much better protection. But a brand that you might buy in Best Buy or Bed Bath and Beyond, if that's sold on Amazon, there's a good chance if you're not controlling or trying to control it or manage it, there's a chance that you're not going to be happy with some of the results, like unauthorized sellers selling it, the pricing below their retail pricing, and a lot of channel disruption. So that's the biggest issue. The other is managing Amazon. Many brands try to sell their products either to Amazon and get disappointed in the fact that the volume is there, but the margin might not be there, and there's a lot of surprises. And Amazon could sell a ton of product, but is not concerned about the pricing. They're trying to make it a very competitive marketplace. So if they find that the product is sold cheaper anywhere else, they'll lower the price, and it's hard for the brand to control their channel that way. So that's a big deal when you sell to Amazon, and also the margins that you might make. When it comes to brands in general, the complexity of managing Amazon day to day, the customer service, the metrics that you need to live by, the time from an order coming in to an order shipping it, if you are managing that part yourself, there's a lot of moving parts. Making sure you're in stock is a big deal. And you'd say, well, why would that be so hard? Well, because most of the time you want your products at Amazon, at their FBA, or their warehouses, because it's the lowest cost freight to consumer you're going to get. And it's usually the fastest delivery, and it'll have the Prime badge on it. And with the Prime badge on it, that's usually the promise from Amazon that you get it in 1 to 2 days. And without the Prime badge, you'll probably drop in sales velocity by 30 to 40%. And so speed is everything. And when you're out of stock, you can't sell it, and Amazon won't list it. On your own site, maybe you could take a back order, but you're not going to take a back order with Amazon.
Interesting. So I've heard a bit about knockoffs and things like that being a concern. It sounds like you're saying maybe even other vendors are selling your products and you don't want them to at prices you don't want them to. Are those some of the big issues your clients run into?
Yeah, I mean, and especially if a big box brand sells that brand, because sometimes they'll run sales where the manufacturer doesn't have that much control over them. So they might discount something to have, the crowds and the foot traffic come into their stores, and then entrepreneurs, what we call arbitrageurs, will go in and purchase these products and sell them on Amazon, and they'll buy a bunch when they're on sale, and the sale price in many cases is low enough, and so that happens all the time. There's a huge business of arbitrage on Amazon. I mean, it's probably one of the first businesses many get into when they first start with Amazon. People live in the discount stores with scanners looking for the math when they scan the label on can they make money or not on Amazon with that product at that price.
Adam, tell us a bit about the listings of what does it take to optimize a listing either for organic or for paid traffic inside Amazon.
Okay, so it's funny. We talked about being on Amazon, navigating Amazon, but one thing that's become much more important, in fact, it's everything, is um, getting sales, and it's getting sales through advertising. So there's the setting up your page and your content so it's as search engine friendly on Amazon as possible for the search words that matter. And so a lot of analysis has to go into what search words matter, what words are in the title of your product, in the bullets of your product, and then really making a great effort to be able to explain your brand and having all the images and videos. But this all helps the overall SEO, and it also helps explain your product to customers. So super important. But then you got to also be great at paid for advertising, and that paid for advertising is evolving so fast on Amazon, where they're coming up with new inventory or offerings for the sellers to be able to participate in, and you need to be really good at that. And that's something where an agency really can help. Everything you could do self-serve on Amazon for sure, but as you start to grow and scale, and if that's not your competency, people that live in this space every day usually are much better at it and do a lot of testing to try and optimize that conversion rate for you, and it almost always pays. And so for you to stay abreast of every single thing that changes on Amazon is very difficult, and that's the same for Shopify. You really want to understand what's happening, what changes, what new features, things that were beta before are now rolled out to others. And as more people are evolving their advertising, you need to evolve your advertising. As more competitors are evolving their content, you have to make your content even better. And there's a lot of pain that goes into looking at an image and figuring out what are the right images to tell my story in the context that Amazon gives me to be able to tell my story. And so I think that these are things that you probably didn't have to worry about several years ago, but that's like a staple now. Advertising and content and the listings and the images, super important.
Yeah. What sorts of images do you think it seem to work really well on a product listing?
They have requirements on what you need to have as your main and your core, gallery image, but really the images that explain the product, help people understand the size of the product, help people understand and see the product in use. Big things. Also, what the product isn't. So, another thing you don't want is to get a lot of returns and to get bad reviews. Bad reviews will, really hurt your business, and returns are not fun and they're expensive. And so sometimes marketing people love to tell the big hype, the great story about their product. I mean, I love to too, but if you tell that story and you go a little too far, you're going to get returned. So making sure you say this product isn't for that, although that goes against most the way they would normally market. You really need to be super extra clear on what your product does and doesn't do. I don't think you have to put warning, cancer inside, but I think you have to say this product does all these great things. It does not work this way. And where do you find that out? Well, you read some of your reviews and you start to adapt your copy to make sure that you're explaining problems that people might be having with your product. So you might not even know that day one, but if you see that same issue over and over again, you need to address it and address it pretty quickly.
I see. Yeah, I noticed there's a question section too about products, and I imagine people ask all kinds of questions, and you want to have those answered so other people know before they buy.
It's super important. The reviews are everything, and what people say about your product, and it's hard to control it. And Amazon's done a much better job of getting the bad guys off Amazon that get fake reviews and fake answers, and they are very very strict about getting accurate and real time reviews. Not there's kind of a game that was played to get reviews, but having positive reviews and having a company to help you in a compliant manner getting those reviews is a big deal, and that's again something we try to help customers with, because no stars is bad. 5 stars is awesome.
Yeah, that makes sense. What are some white hat things or approved things you can do to get legitimate reviews?
Well, it's never easy, but selling high velocity products are a lot easier to get more reviews because you sell a lot more. Consumer products also would normally get more reviews than higher end commercial products, but the basics are all the same. There's programs that Amazon has that will help you get some reviews, and then there's social media, which you have to become really good at, and getting social influencers, depending on the types of products and product categories, to talk about your product in a positive way and to push more people to your product. So if you get a positive review from an important influencer, people will buy it and have a positive experience. Also, the software that many of us use within our Seller Central, and you could do it through Seller Central or through automated tools, is that you can send compliant emails, and there's a limit, it's usually one, to customers asking them to leave a accurate review. And you can't pay them, you can't offer them anything, you can't tell them to give you a great review, but you definitely could, market and solicit for reviews. So there's influencers, there's just getting more traffic, more volume. There's the Amazon Vine program and other programs that Amazon has, and others. But it's usually a slow build, but you need it, and it's worth the time.
I know what I was going to ask earlier. It was about you mentioned FBA, fulfillment by Amazon. Do you recommend all your clients do Amazon FBA for fulfillment?
Yeah, I do, and especially if it's really big and if it's really small. But I mean, Amazon's rates in general, even if they've gone up, and recently they increased their rates due to fuel surcharges. But when you compare that to the rates that you would get for 1 and 2 day delivery, even if you're local and you're shipping ground, um, it's almost always better. So if it's the margin that you're looking to make and the speed to the customer, Amazon. But if you have to ship, there's many successful sellers that sell from their own warehouse or their own 3PL, and we ship from our own warehouse too, selling and shipping what they call FBM, fulfilled by merchant. One benefit we have, and we have the medallion, is called Seller Fulfilled Prime, and that gives us the ability to have the Prime badge on items that we ship from our warehouse. And that's really important if you want to keep your velocity going. The one thing is, the freight will cost a bit more, but you don't do it as a long-term strategy. You do it as a strategy to fill the gap while you're moving product back to FBA. The issue with FBA is you got to get the product up there, so that could take some time. It could take 10 days, 2 weeks, a month and a half. And so especially during the busier times of year. During COVID, it was a big deal. In holiday times, Prime Day's coming up, you got to get your stuff up there early. Sometimes the product's not here yet to ship up there in time. So as an alternative, to find a partner that has seller fulfilled Prime, you could have it in stock and Prime immediately, and then shift a bunch of product up to Amazon FBA, and then get the benefit of the freight.
Adam, these are great tips today. Is there anything else I should have asked you about, or anything you want to share about what you really see working selling on Amazon?
I think that e-commerce is fun, awesome, and if you're a creative type and you like to invent products or you like to just sell stuff, there's a buzz. Like we used to get that buzz from the catalog, but it would take 2 or 3 weeks before we got the first results. Now you get it instantly, and so I think that between Amazon and Shopify and these other platforms out there, there's such a great opportunity. I think there's no better time, even if it's a crowded space, to let your passion and your creativity show and get involved. And whether you're a direct consumer or a marketplace or you're both, and both really do help as long as you can control your brand and your price, because you do get some leakage back to your Shopify site. I think I just think that more and more people should get into it, and I think more and more younger people should get into it because it's a great way for them to start their own businesses and not be dependent on things that maybe you and I had to do when we were younger, and have to work for the man and in the corporate environment. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, love it. Thank you, Adam. Who should check out Omni-channel Distribution?
I think everyone should check out Omni-channel Distribution. So it's a very simple URL, and I know you can't misspell it. It's omnichanneldistribution.com, or you could contact me on LinkedIn, Adam, Shaffer, and I apologize for a long URL, but omnichanneldistribution.com. Come visit, and right now we have kind of a white paper or a checklist to help you prepare for Prime Day, which is free. So come on down.
All right, Adam, thank you for coming on and sharing what's working in e-commerce.
Egan, thanks, and let's stay in touch on all. We got a fun season coming up with, Prime Day, back to school, and then obviously, the big Cyber Days.
All right, sounds great. Thank you, Adam.
Super. Yep. Bye-bye.